Yes, no question. The glaring numbers in this game were, the turnovers, 5 turnovers to 2. We thought our defense came out and started the game well, and did everything they should be able to do in this game to give our offense a chance to go down and get points. Unfortunately, we didn't get points for one reason or another. And then the special teams return gave UCF quite a bit of energy going in. Our guys still were able to withstand it a little bit there. And then we give them more points. It had nothing to do with our defense. So all in all, it was one of those games where you outgain a team like we outgained them. But when we got to the red zone, we turned the football over. We got some inexperienced players right now turning the football over, but we think that they're really talented. A lot of the guys that are turning the football over for us is their first time in real starting situations this year. We've got to continue to give them more opportunities where some of our veteran players are making plays, but unfortunately we're not making the plays when we need to make them in the red zone.
I'll take questions.
And looking for. Go ahead. Looking forward to USF. Wow, what a good football team, defensively, offensively. They've done a good job of putting together the type of personnel that they need for their offense, and also the type of personnel that Coach Taggart feels comfortable with on their defense. It's going to be a great matchup. Love the way they play on tape. Love the way their quarterback play, and they give their guys a chance to make plays.
Take questions for Coach Scottie Montgomery. Please star 1 on your telephone keypad to join the queue. The operator will introduce you.
We'll first hear from Dan Tortora with WakeUpCallDT.com.
Good morning, Coach. How are you today?
Doing okay. How are you?
Doing well. I know you talked about, obviously, turnovers and issues that you're having with some people out there on the offense, but how are you addressing that in practice and kind of going forward with this and looking to some of those leaders? Who are those leaders offensively that you're kind of leaning on and saying, hey, you know what, take this guy under your shoulder and, talk with him a little bit outside of practice? Yeah. Are you asking those leaders to do that?
Yeah, no question. We're asking, Isaiah Jones, and, we're making sure that Jimmy Williams and James Summers, the guys that are carrying the ball, are spending some time with these guys, talking to them about the importance of it, because we're practicing great habits in practice. What's happening to us is we're making youthful mistakes as well. What we're doing down there, going in for DeAndre Ferry, is a situation where we constantly talked about, never cutting back to the inside part of the field, where he decided to cut back to the inside part of the field where the rest of the defense is coming, where you just stay on the perimeter if you're on the perimeter. Those things correct ball security as well. So we have our leaders working with them. We're working with them. We have to play with them. We think they got a tremendous amount of talent. We feel like we got to go through some growing pains, but we want those growing pains to come to an end.
And then as far as South Florida, what can you say about defensively going up against a dual threat like Quentin Flowers?
Wow, he is a true dual threat, because not only can he throw it down the field, he can run. And what I like about him is he gets to his progression really fast, and he's not afraid to pull it down, but he'll also wait for a route to develop and move the pocket and deliver it down the field. So, this year, I talked to our team we talked about sacks. The teams that we played against this year, whether it be in Western Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia Tech, or UCF, have all had guys that won't allow you to get sacks. You do a better job of containing them. If you can get them tackled around 1 or 2 yard on gains, those are as valuable as sacks. So what we got to do is we got to contain him. We know it's going to be very hard to stop him, but our guys have got to contain him and make sure that, once we're in coverage downfield, if we're in coverage or stay in coverage, let's let our underneath defenders, whether it be zone or our man underneath defenders, come up and make the tackles, and let our back end stay in coverage.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
And next we'll hear from Joey Knight with Tampa Bay Times.
Scottie, I'm just wondering your impressions of Marlon Mack. What do you think makes him so effective as a running back? Unique combination of size, quickness, and speed. The one thing that I like about him is he can get you out onto the perimeter, and at any second put his foot in the ground and get it vertical. And what a lot of people don't know is he's a hard tackle. He's bigger than a lot of people think he is. So I guess as people are approaching him to tackle him, that's the first time they realize how physical he can be. But what I really like about him is if he gets the ball to the perimeter, he can put his foot in the ground, get it vertical. Or if he's an interior runner, he has no problem just cramming it. And a lot of times now everybody's trying to hit the home run. he can go get you 4 to 6 yards and 4 to 6 yards, and then all of a sudden hit a big one.
Thank you, Coach.
And next question comes from Leo Haggerty with It's Sports Magazine.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, did UCF do anything on offense, especially that you weren't expecting?
No, not really. I think they, what I think they did really well, I thought they executed better. I thought our defense executed, pretty good for the most part. We kept putting them out there. I thought they played with great tempo. I thought 13 had a good football game where he was taking care of the football as much as he could in some situations. He could have forced a few that he didn't force. He took off running a couple of times where I thought he made some good decisions. And then, but all in all, I just thought they used their perimeter, they used their interior. But I thought our defense played well. Outside of that long run there at the end of the game and a few drop coverages, which were 2 or 3 catches, I thought our defense played well in this game. Anytime you only give up, 370 yards and one of those plays being an X play basically on the last play of the game, they played well enough to win the football game.
Coach, USF is scoring points in bunches. You really probably can't stop them. How do you slow them down?
Well, what you got to do is if you watch the Cincinnati game at all, I thought Cincinnati was in good shape in that football game until they didn't take care of the football. It was all connected to how USF got the football after turnovers, and the energy and momentum allowed them to score. The one thing that you have to make sure that you do is that the quarterback is such a threat at all times that I don't think you need to worry about stopping him and rushing him as much as a lot of people have tried to rush him. When they've tried to rush him, he breaks the pocket, and because you're locked in man coverages sometimes or some not enough people in zone coverage, it's so hard to get him on the ground. And then when you break coverage and he is outside, he still has the arm to throw it over the top. I think you just have to make sure you contain him, and when you get chances on offense to score, you got to score. I think that puts a little bit more pressure on them to throw the football. But right now, they're a well-oiled machine.
Coach, last question, and thank you for your time. They're talking game time temperature here in Tampa to be almost 90 degrees. That looks like on the field close to triple digits. Can you prepare for that in Greenville at all?
Yeah, I mean, our whole camp has been right around that same temperature. First time basically we've had any weather under 80, 85 to practice in was just last week if it hadn't been raining. So our guys will be ready to go from a heat and conditioning standpoint. We're going to continue to make sure they're hydrated during the week, but we've had a hot camp, and we don't practice indoor. We don't have an indoor facility, so we're always outside. So this will be something that will be a challenge for us, but it's not like we're not out in the heat, and we practice it at 4 o'clock in the daytime. So we've been out in a lot of heat.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck Saturday.
Thank you, sir.